Let's see. I got some random lady added me on Snapchat, and she just sent me a video. So let's see what happens. Yep, it's a porn star. My light fell.
A real one?
I don't know if she's real. Here, still playing. The phone illuminating your fucking jerk-off face. Yeah, it's pretty hot.
I gotta do the dad watch that. Yeah, well, it's not even porn. She's in a bathing suit.
No, she wants me to. She wants me to. You know, it's like a porn bot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a real person. What should I say? Oh, she sent me two.
Oh, what's the other one?
She just pulled her dress up.
She wasn't wearing a dress in the first one.
Yeah, this is a different one. Oh, she's bending over.
Can I see?
You're not really missing out on much.
Oh.
Oh my! You need Jesus.
You need Jesus. You and that butterfly tattoo.
Oh my God! Swipe up to have some fun with me on my OnlyFans.
So I gotta pay?
How many videos did she send
What's
me?
the other one?
Christ, this is like the fifth one. This is what kept blowing my phone up in the middle of the movie. It's really funny when you can't see it and you can just hear it.
Why?
Click on blowing it.
You know what's funny? It's funny how she found your account.
Who the fuck are you?
Because your username is Dr. Kegel.
All right. Welcome to the Degenerate podcast.
Yeah, you know, man, I'm just getting over something fierce right now. I went to work yesterday and I had to fill up the truck at the gas station. So while I was in there, I bought a croissant, which gas station food, you know.
No. It's not gas station food. It's a gas station croissant. That's somehow worse.
So I get the croissant. I'm driving on the road. I'm about halfway into eating it. And I take a bite, you know, and something feels off. I look down at it. So the whole picture a croissant. Now picture it blue. And it was covered with like white fuzz. And I was like, I launch it out the window. I pull over and immediately start fingering my mouth. Trying to like throw up, you know, and I got like 3 or 4 fingers. I'm just like trying, and like my tongue started cramping. And then like one of my managers called me and goes, "Dude, what's going on?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, we were tracking you, and we just saw that you pulled over because my truck has 6 cameras. There's like 2 on the outsides, 1 in the front, 2 in the back. It's crazy." He goes, "Yeah, we're looking at you on the monitors. You're like gagging yourself." I was like, "Oh, I ate a blue croissant." He goes,
"Don't worry about me, boss. I'm just out here pulling trigger."
Yeah, I'm like vomiting into this like auto shop parking lot. And he goes, well, do you think you can still work?" I'm like, "Hey, baby, I'm already out here, man. I'll work." So that made me feel like shit up until today. And then we watched a really bad movie.
Now he feels like shit because he ate 4 Wendy's sandwiches.
I didn't eat 4 Wendy's sandwiches. We didn't even go to Wendy's. What? Get it? Because we did go to Wendy's.
I did it without the logo facing out.
We did go to Wendy's. That's me explaining the joke, much like much of the jokes in the movie we watched. Would you like to do a podcast? All right, everybody, welcome back.
Your intro also really quick. Your intro reminded me of that time you got shit-faced at Jack's house and started vomiting in the street. And good friend of the podcast, Stavros, came out and who was completely sober saw you throwing up and went, "Oh man, I'll never let a friend throw up alone," and then just shoved a finger down his throat and puked into the street.
I remember that.
Yeah. The best part is you never puked.
Yeah, I was just kind of heaving.
Yeah,
That was my thing. I would heave a lot.
You came close, but he came out and he was like, "Oh shit, I got you, homie." And then walked away.
You know what, Stavros? Thanks, man.
Friend of the show.
Thank you. Friend of the show. Is he a friend of the show?
I guarantee he's never seen an episode.
Fuck it.
Fuck you, Stavros, piece of shit.
Yeah, fuck you.
Blow this clip up. Kevin, make this into a TikTok. Blow this shit up, and then hopefully he sees it when it goes viral.
We need Stavros to know that we hate him. No, he's cool.
Love you, Stav.
So, take 2. Welcome back. We watched a movie today. A pretty popular one. It was Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
We're a little late. Just
What?
a little. It's been out for 3 weeks?
Has it?
I don't know.
We've been busy.
I don't pay attention.
Well, last week was Mother's Day. Shout out to all the mothers out there that watch our podcast.
Go moms.
Go moms, mom power, mom fuel. Love it.
I love having sex with them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all right.
So
Milfs.
MILFs. So
I'm in a committed relationship.
me too. We love our girlfriends.
Oh, I love you, dear. Kisses.
Love
Mwah.
you. Mwah, mwah.
You don't have to say it to her. She doesn't watch.
Yeah, that's true. She watches.
At least mine watches.
She watches.
You know what? You can't say shit. Ready? All right? Serena, if you're watching this, text me, "Fuck you, you piece of shit." All right? We're going to see. You can't tell her. You can't. You put that phone down. Tomahawk.
So take 3. We watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and it was
lame as shit.
so lame.
It was fucking goofy.
Picture that kid you went to high school with that nobody liked. That was this movie.
Picture that kid that you didn't feel bad when he got bullied.
Yeah. You know what? There's real quick.
Picture that kid who nobody was afraid of shooting up the school because you knew they were a little bitch.
Yeah, there was a kid in my school that no one liked because he would. I don't know if he was retarded or something, but he'd go up to everyone and just do this. "Hey man, look what I can do," and you'd look, and he would just do this. Sick, man, wicked sick.
That kid's name was Charlie Component.
You just see me in high school. Hey man,
Yo, dude, check it out.
Oh god. So
the movie.
yeah. So the movie, yeah, it really did suck. Keegan has a theory. If you want to share your Marvel theory, which I think you
Again?
did during Ant-Man 3, but
Of course I did. I'm very proud of this
I
theory.
could sum it up real quick for you if you want.
I'll do it. It's my theory. My Marvel theory. My Marvel movie theory is that all Marvel movies remain completely neutral to me because it is always equal things that are good and equal things that are bad. So you go in, you watch an hour and a half of movie, and you come out the other side going, "Oh, okay," and then you leave.
Yeah.
At least you do if you're normal. You're one of these Marvel fanboys.
Yeah,
No
everyone's
hate,
yeah, but this one was really centered on Rocket,
the bunny,
which he's not a raccoon.
Until the end when he is a raccoon. Turns out he was a raccoon the whole time.
You know
Who
what-
fucking guessed it?
What's funny is that a lot of the hype with this movie, from personally what I saw on Instagram, whatever else, was a lot of it was people were really into how centered around Rocket it was, that you're seeing his backstory and this and that. I hated every single time.
Well, should we do the plot summary?
I was just going to bring that up. Spoilers ahead. Here's this week's plot summary with Keegan. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Go for
give
it,
me-
buddy.
give me a
Keep
plot.
it short and sweet, man.
Give me a plot summary of the week logo. That's just a guy doing this. Hey,
He wasn't Italian.
get that guy. Is that supposed to be Italian?
Well, you know, Italians are like, oh, they talk with their
we're
hands.
just using
But
fucking.
he would like
we're using slurs now.
He would like mush his fingers and just go, look, look what I can
I
do.
spent years perfecting this.
Ready?
All right, plot summary of the week.
Yep.
We find our friends, the Guardians.
Keep it short and sweet. Okay.
Well, if you keep fucking interrupting me, then it won't be short or sweet. We find our friends, the Guardians, on their little slice of space. What is it? Nowhere.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of hanging out, moping around. I don't really know what they were doing. One of them was hanging a sign up.
Yeah, they were like in a.
It wasn't in English, so I can't tell you what it meant.
Creep was playing.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
So, Peter Quill is fucking shit-faced,
Yeah.
blasting blasting Radiohead's Creep
I'm a weirdo.
over the loudspeakers of the entire town
Everyone needs to know how I feel.
until Rocket Raccoon says, fuck that noise, go to fucking bed, you drunk piece of shit. And then some random man headbutts the wall, flies through it like a bullet, and kills like 3 of the Guardians. Mainly Rocket Raccoon, who does not recover whenever he dies, unlike everybody else apparently.
Yeah.
So he gets shot, and it's not good. They try to use like a med pack on him, but oh, surprise, he's got some kind of bomb inside of him that blows up when you use medicine on him.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck it means or how long that's been true, but here we are.
It furthers the plot.
So he goes down and he like slips into a coma, and they're like, oh no, and Peter Quill's all guilty because he was shit-faced. So they're gonna go save the day by infiltrating a corporation that is based out of a meat planet.
Yeah, right.
And all the
what's it
guards
called? Like
wearing meat armor.
Orgeltherp? It's very annoying to pronounce.
I called it the anus when I first saw
Yeah.
it.
Look at that prolapsed
Look at
anus.
that is a tight anus. My God, I'd like to dive five of my friends in spacesuits into that anus.
That's just what we're gonna do.
So they go in there to get the file on Raccoon thing and origin story. Then they get it, and then they're like, oh, we need a code to deactivate the bomb. So then they go to the big bad who has the code. And
Gamora's there.
I'm sticking to the plot. That she had nothing to do with the plot.
That's true.
She was just another pawn in this fucking endless game of Marvel.
Yeah.
So they go to the big bad who has created another version of Earth and populated it with human animals who speak like Dutch. And then they blow it up.
Yep.
For no reason.
The end.
He blows it up. They take off in a spaceship. Shenanigans ensue that leaves 3 of the Guardians on the spaceship. They got to go back on the spaceship where they find like an army of children. And they're like, we got to save the children because we're the good guys. Then the guy loses his fucking shit and like kills his own crew and like blows up his own ship. And then they save all the kids. And then they all break up. And then the movie ends with a 90s sitcom dance routine.
Done?
And that's the last Guardians movie. You'll never see another one.
Yeah. Oh, you will.
Maybe. Well, they're like, it's supposed to be a trilogy. It was always meant to be a trilogy. Yeah.
Was it?
Let me introduce you to like 9 of my favorite movies that were supposed to be trilogies. And now they're not. I'll give you a hint. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, that should not have been.
We're up to 6 now, right? 6 Pirates of the Caribbean
5 have
movie?
been made.
They're working on 6.
Because the first one is honestly one of my favorite movies ever made.
Fantastic movie. The other 2 kind of lost the plot, but they got cooler.
Well, you know, you and me talked about this. Jack Sparrow got so fucking popular from the first one that they
We just make him the main character.
Yeah, like, let's just center the whole thing. He'll get in the...
It's not like he was good because he wasn't the main character. Hold up. It got stuck.
Yeah.
It's gonna
I
come
could
out
talk
eventually.
Pirates all day, but I'm not going.
Let's talk Guardians, because,
Yeah.
you know, we have a podcast to
But
do.
Pirates are so much better. Okay, yeah, okay.
We'll do a Pirates episode in the future, but if this hits 50 likes, which it won't.
Oh.
I don't even think we get past 5 likes.
Yeah, right. We suck. So, what the first thing I'd like to discuss is
No, I won't kiss you.
he will.
No, I won't.
So, the movie. What I think we should do is why don't we? I don't even know. Oh, so bad.
Well, I actually took notes. You didn't.
I know, because I forgot. We forgot our notebooks.
I just take it on my phone.
I don't want to have my phone out.
All
in
right,
the
let's talk
theater.
about the opening, because the opening freaked me out. Not in a good way.
Yeah.
The opening was like really oddly long.
Yeah.
And set up a mood for an entirely different movie.
Yes.
It opens up with a bunch of baby raccoons in a cage, and there is a shadowy figure approaching them very slowly, and then he opens the cage, and all the baby raccoons are very scared, and the teenage girls behind us all squeed, and they went, "Ah!" And I went, "Shut up!" And then the man reaches towards one raccoon, who I assume is Rocket. And then it cuts to the what I described before.
Listening to Creep. What the hell am I doing here?
It was so yeah, that included that the scene where Rocket is walking to get Peter was so long. It was the entire song of Creep.
Yeah.
Of just him walking, and it was
I will
so
say,
unnecessary.
It was unnecessary, but I gotta say, I was kind of interested because part of me was kind of like, okay, when or where is this gonna go wrong? I was like, and I didn't like. Now that I seen the movie, I didn't like it, but while I was watching it for the first time, it's like, okay, this could be setting up something. Are they trying to set this peaceful tone of everyone just building up this little town?
I think if they cut it in half, I would have been happy with it. Because it would have gotten the message done, but it went on for just a little too long.
Much like the remainder of the movie.
And also, so the opening was very horror movie-esque. It was very creepy, it was very dark and very disgusting and unsettling. And I was like, this could be interesting. And then it just turned into a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And it's like, what movie were you trying to set up? This is such a weird way to open a movie that's going to be here's a bunch of goofy guys in space shooting people. Yeah. All right, first things first, 2 minutes of esocentric horror.
Yeah. So Rocket goes into his room after they tuck Peter Quill into bed because he's shit-faced. And then Rocket takes his shirt off, and you see he's all some of his hair doesn't grow back. He's all scarred and
the classic character takes off his shirt and he's got whiplashings on his back.
Yeah, he's wounded, man.
Oh my god,
he's wounded. Oh my god, he's been in the shit. So as he's there, what's his name? Is it Will Poulter? Poulter?
The gay kid from Shameless?
That wasn't him.
Wasn't?
No, it was the kid in We're the Millers.
Okay.
Maybe it's the same. I know it's not the same guy.
They look like the same person to me.
He looks like a golden Superman. Looks like
yeah. There's a race of people that are painted gold.
Yeah, and then he flies through the window and just beats the living shit out of Rocket. And then the Guardians fuck him up, and then he just
no, one Guardian fucked him up.
And then he just flew away.
Drax, our good friend of the show, Dave Bautista.
I'm Dave Bautista. I'm an actor.
I'm in a cabin. I'm not doing this because you're gay. I want that to be understood. I'm a gym teacher.
Watch episode 3 to understand that reference.
Well, listen, you can't watch it.
Oh, you could just listen to it on Apple or Spotify. Anyway,
Dave Bautista.
I'm Dave Bautista.
I
So
Brainworms.
he like leaves, but then Rocket's in like the ICU, and then and then they just gotta save his life. But a lot of people were discussing that, because I like Rocket's character from like the other ones. Like I thought he was cool, and people kept saying like, oh yeah, his backstory and this is crazy, blah blah blah. Dude, I hated it so much.
I don't think his backstory was bad. I think
how they executed it
the
was
execution
horrible.
of how they presented it was bad.
Yeah, like it was fucked up when they like did all those tests on him and they threw him back in the cage and like his whole head was basically sewn back on.
Yeah, they
I was like, oh shit.
They had a
good thing going.
There's so many ways I can complain about this because I have so many different like problems with it.
Yeah.
They tacked on these really corny fucking animal characters.
Yeah. Oh my god! You know who they fucking looked like? They looked like the toys in Sid's room in Toy Story. Like,
yeah,
those fucking. Who's the woman? It's like
the baby head with spider legs.
Yeah, yeah. It was like all of those guys.
Yeah, there was a bunny with spider legs. There was an otter with robot arms and legs.
And then
and
the
our
best
favorite,
one,
the walrus in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I want my name to be Teeth. It's like, wow, they finally put retarded person in.
Yeah, right, relax. No, these fucking characters were just fucking awful. Like, it was like supposed to be a really like dramatic. They kept trying to go for like dramatic, spooky, and then they'd have these like Teletubby characters talking. Like they're all laying there, and they're like, when we move on to the utopia, we have to have names. And the one character goes, "I want my name to be Floor." What? What? What are you, stupid? I want my name to be Floor because I'm laying on the floor. I should kill you. I should kill you.
And then the walrus was like, I want to be Teeth because I have teeth.
He goes, well, we all have teeth, but considering mine are the most prominent, I think I should be called Toofs.
Yeah.
And the otter was the only one with a real name. And then obviously Rocket goes, I want to build rockets. So my name's going to be Rocket.
He goes, so my name's going to be Rocket. And then like the dialogue was just so cringy. Like, here's the thing. I wouldn't really mind it if it wasn't so cringy. It was like, man, when we get out of here, the things we're going to do. And every time in the flashback scene, the fucking otter would go, it's great to have friends. And it's like, and I know you're all gonna die.
Might
by
as well
the way,
have just looked dead into the camera and went, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, because they're setting up that so cuddly, cute, friendly. Oh, we're the four. Bro, what was that montage of them just running around tickling each other, laughing? It was just like, get it the fuck away.
I think it was like tag or something. But
yeah, they were like playing tag. Like
it was two, but there was two different cells, and it was two per cell.
Yeah, but it literally seemed like they did a game of Ring Around the Rosie, and they all fell down. It's great to have friends.
And like we previously stated, the walrus is in a wheelchair.
Yeah, because
why are you playing a game where you have to run with a walrus in a wheelchair?
Well, because here's the thing: they're stuck in these cages, and experiments are being done on them by this generic bad guy. What is that?
It's Jason Statham.
Should we talk like Jason Statham for the remainder of the podcast?
No.
Yeah, so here's what's going on, mate.
No.
Yeah. So all these fucking characters, yeah, mate, they're being experimented on by this bad guy. And so like Rocket, like his head was like shaved and his head was like sewn back on, and they just threw him in the cell. And like the otter was like missing arms, but it has like robot arms. And then yeah, the walrus was in like a wheelchair, and the bunny had like a metal plate over its mouth.
Yeah, I feel like they were going for like. I feel like they went so hard into like horror elements that like I feel like the studio might have stepped in and been like, "Can you make these a little more kid friendly?" Yeah. And that's when they gave them stupid fucking dialogue.
Yeah,
because like they looked like shit out of like a horror game.
Yeah, but
But they spoke like fucking Teletubbies.
Honestly, it's interesting you bring that up because I think it had to be the studio, because we were talking about James Gunn on the way back from the movie, and it's like, he's got a vision. He's he's pretty promising in this MCU. I think that if it would have went his way, I just think the studios should trust their directors and their writers, but they never do. Like, kid friendly, make it kid friendly. Like, I would like to research that a little and see if they knowed him on a lot of stuff, because it really does seem like that was supposed to be way more fucked up than it was.
Yeah, it felt like they tried to go for like a Thor 3, like this is gonna be the weird one, kind of thing, but it feels like toned back in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
it felt like it was being held back, which is why I say that it was probably studio fuckery, because it felt like it was trying to do stuff and just wasn't allowed to do it.
Which really bugs me, because it's like they know that the movie's going to make money. So they're like, we don't care how we monitor this. We don't care what we add or take out, because people will see it and it'll be good enough where people will buy it and buy the merchandise and whatever. Like, I mean, Disney's the biggest entertainment conglomerate out there. Anything they do is going to make money. But it's like, I just hate that there's no pride. It's just all hack shit. I thought Rocket, because there's a scene where, what's the blue one's name with the black eyes? Nebula. Yeah, they were watching what was happening to Rocket through some weird shit, and she was like, "Oh my god, that's worse than what Thanos did to me." And it's like, I would have liked to see it, or I would have liked to see proper flashbacks and not him playing tag with a retarded walrus in a wheelchair. It just didn't seem as bad as everyone was making it out to be. And if Rocket really is this disturbed guy...
The Thanos line was super tacky.
Yeah.
It was very tell don't show. It was very like, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, they're all like watching. They're watching, but like it's on like this little like screen, and they're all like looking down at it, but we can't see the screen, and they're like, oh god, and they're all like crying and weeping, and it's like, can you tilt the camera down a little bit? Can I see this?
And like, there's no fucking way that chick would have said that. Fuck out of here. That's like her identity. Is like what Thanos did to her. And then she's like, oh, wow, that's not even... And then I reevaluate everything I've ever thought about what happened to me.
Yeah, meanwhile...
Like, he chopped you up and turned you into a robot.
Yeah, meanwhile, fucking like 5 scenes later, Star-Lord looks at Nebula and goes, I never realized how black your eyes are. She goes, that's because Thanos replaced them. That's fucking crazy. Oh, that's insane.
I was gonna bring this up. The jokes in this movie were like weirdly contradictive of themselves. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
A lot, like there were a ton of jokes where they would make a joke and then the very next joke would contradict that original joke.
Yeah.
It was super weird, and I didn't pick up on it until like later in the movie, but that's another example of it, where it's like one scene she's like, oh, that's not that bad, and then the next scene she goes right back to bitching about it.
Yeah.
When I noticed it was later on when they're on the other Earth. I forgot what they call it. Yeah. They're on the counter Earth.
Yeah.
They're on the fake Earth, and they go to jump in this guy's car, and Nebula can't like work the door handle because she's from space, and it's like an 82 like Mercury or something, and she can't figure out the door handle. It's like, okay, I get it. And then she finally gets it open, gets in the car, they go to drive away. Whole time Chris Pratt is like, you don't know how to work a door handle? Yeah, what are you, stupid? You just press the button.
He goes, get in the fucking car.
Which was funny. but I would just because I wasn't expecting a hard fucking to land right there. But no, what I'm saying is, then the very next moment is he goes to drive away and he can't drive the car, and she goes, "Really?" He goes, "I left her when I was 8. Do you think like I know how to drive a car?" It's like, dude, you were just making fun of her for not knowing how to work the handle. You can't then turn around and be like, "I don't know how to drive."
That's what it is. It's that like they're literally like it's like a ping pong game with their own character traits. It's like I'm this way, I'm this way, I'm this way, I'm this way, and it's like. The whole time it just leaves me uninterested because now I'm just watching a movie pushing 2 hours about characters that just contradict themselves, and it's like
I hated the characters in this movie.
I hated all of the side characters. I even hated the main characters. I thought the best part of the movie were like the really subtle jokes. Like when they met those other guards. And then Star-Lord was like covering for Drax. He's like, Drax over here, my friend is he's the boss's nephew. He's a little, And then the head of the guards on the other side was like, oh, I got one of those too. I mean, this guy
just turns around and looks him dead in the eyes.
He goes, but this guy, I can't stand this guy. And the guy's just like, oh. And it's like those like small things are funny, but I feel like a lot of the jokes also were relied on like cursing.
Yeah,
like a lot of it was like
cursing.
It was like movie. Who's the one with the antennas? Whatever her name is, I don't like her. I don't know. Like her acting seemed horrible.
Their acting sucked. I think Chris Pratt is the only one that impressed me.
Yeah, notice how he's the only one with a real fucking career. But yeah, she was like, "You're a dickhead," and the whole theater was cracking up because like she said dickhead. Did you hear that? She said dickhead.
The only time it was funny is when
with Drax,
the same scene as when the guards leave, they all like get pissed off at Mantis is her name.
Yeah.
And then Dave Bautista's just like Mantis, you asshole.
Yeah.
It's like at the time, and it was just so are we pretending to be mad again? Mantis, you asshole.
Yeah, like that was funny because like the joke wasn't the curse.
Yeah, it was that he was getting unreasonably upset.
Yeah, but I mean, I like.
No,
like,
the characters in this movie were fucking. I can't really like speak on if it's specifically this movie or if it's just like the Guardians across the board. I didn't see the second one. I saw the first one. It was okay. Obviously, they were in the Avengers. Whatever. But like. It was everything about them was terrible. I think James Gunn or whoever wrote this movie was leaning way too hard on every character being a moron.
Yeah.
Like anything that happens in the movie, every joke, everything relies on them being stupid and making stupid decisions. Like the whole reason they're on the ship at the end of the movie is because Chris Pratt goes on with Groot alone. And then it starts taking off, and then he jumps out. But whoops, the guys on the ground thought he was still on there, so we got to jump on the ship. And it's like
really,
you guys didn't fucking communicate the plan. Like what?
Yeah, there's no communication, and it just makes for a longer movie. Like there was so much of this. I mean, the end with all the little Asian kids. It's just like there was just so much shit where I'm like, can't we just take this all out? The main goal is saving Rocket.
Yeah, I don't understand what the kids were really just tacked on at the end there.
Yeah, and I know that Rocket released all the animals at the end, but it's like I thought that would have been perfect.
Yeah,
it's his redemption.
Yeah,
like I thought that would have touched me a lot.
Right,
if it was just that. But then it's like Rocket has to go up to Quill and he's like, we got to save them. And he's like, we are saving the kids. He goes, no, the rest. And like a herd of fucking animals come running out. I'm like, oh, really? Like it was just done so poorly. And like, I thought Rocket's backstory would have worked great if he was like isolated. But again, they added these weird fucking Teletubby characters. Like that everything that happened, it just kept softening the blow.
Yeah.
with a lot of it. And that's what really bothered me. I'm like, if you're going to make this gritty, if you're going to show this fucking guy getting tortured and shit and people getting shot and killed and whatever, like, go all the way. I get like, yeah, kids are going to see it, but then don't make a movie like that.
It was weird. It was just weird decisions from I mean, that's what I come to expect from Disney now, is weird decisions. But I don't know. I really think this movie just completely fell flat on its face. The plot was a little goofy, but I think it would have been forgivable. But I can do this whole episode on how much I disliked all the characters. Yeah. And I think like 90% of the problems with this movie have to do with the characters. Because they were so
pointless.
Yeah, there was way too many characters, and there were way too many side characters, and all of their plots were way too focused on. It was weird. Like,
it was like he tried to make everyone a main character.
Everyone that shows up has a character, like a arc that's like, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you include a character, they should have some kind of arc.
But even that fucking dog.
Every single character, like, there was way too many characters. That's the problem. Yeah. It's not that every character had an arc. It's that there was like 90 characters, and he's like committing like valuable screen time to each character. Yeah. Like, you got the guy who adopted Yondu's whistle weapon. He has an arc. The dog, the Cosmo dog, the Russian dog has an arc. Yeah. The fucking
Will Poulter's character, that golden Superman,
the golden guy, his mom.
Yeah.
The animals, the weird animal henchmen.
The Guardians themselves, Quill and Gamora's relationship. Like I know they're the main characters, but I'm just saying there were so many arcs. There were so many fucking arcs. And then even again at the end they make an arc for Drax, how they're like, "You're stupid." And then he starts making all the little Asian kids laugh, and they're like, "Well, we couldn't do that. He's not stupid. He's just goofy, and now he's a help. Now he's a helping hand. He's not just in the way all the time." It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, I don't care. I don't care.
And it's not even like, it's not the main cast's fault. It's because every single side character. There's a fucking like little pet that they pick up that keeps showing up, and it has its own little.
It like takes a shit in the spaceship.
It has its own little story where like its owner gets vaporized by the dumbass gold guy, and it's just like it's too much, dude. It's fucking too much.
Yeah, there's way too much going.
Like,
on.
You're really just diluting your story to a point where I can't fucking. There's nothing to taste. It's all water. Because you've diluted it with like 80 different fucking, I don't know.
It's like,
I don't know
what?
Where this analogy's going.
Well, what I'm saying is he probably could have ditched 30 pages of that script.
Yeah, of all side character shit.
He could have deleted 30 pages of that script and then maybe took like 10 pages to really add depth to the main characters.
Because they were fucking shallow as a puddle.
I know.
So this is gonna be 2 points. So buckle up. I don't know why every character in this movie was angry all the time.
So angry,
and none of them like ever really had a reason to be. Yeah. Like, maybe Gamora was pissed off just in general, like all the time.
Because Quill kept going up to her, "I love you. We were great in the other life."
Okay,
and she's
I'm saying is she had probably the most reason. But then like they're all fighting with each other. The only time the characters are interacting is when they're screaming at each other. I don't know like why that was so prominent.
I think that he was just like relying so heavy on like banter. It's like, if they're the Guardians, I would like to see them be a team.
Yeah,
there's like just screaming at each other.
There's that weird family element that they have in the movie where they're kind of like a cobbled together family. And I guess the point is that families fight, but like it wasn't a prominent theme. It was just the characters constantly screaming at each other. Yeah. And constantly being angry and constantly like, and for no reason. Like, and if there was a reason, it wasn't translated correctly or easily for me to understand. Yeah. The other point with that is that I think somebody needs to tell James Gunn that screaming doesn't make good acting.
Yeah.
There was
clearly
many scenes where characters would get, or actors would get, like a minute-long monologue just because they were screaming and freaking out. And it's like, oh, I know for a fact when James Gunn yelled cut, he was like, oh, that was amazing. That was amazing. That was great.
You see how loud?
You see how loud? It's like, dude, yelling isn't good acting.
Like, loud, good.
They were all overacting their asses off because they're like screaming, and somebody, James Gunn probably thinks that's what good acting is. It was like it had the subtlety of a fucking dick punch. Yeah, oh my god. Or the big bad, the main guy, what's his name?
Kang
Kang again. Diet Kang.
Yeah, this guy.
He was hold on, I got his name right here.
Screamo. Scream McQueen.
What the fuck? Where's his name? I have it written down, I promise. No, where I don't think he has it written down. I did write it down.
Anyway, he was really loud the whole fucking time.
High Evolutionary.
That was his name?
That's his name.
I thought his name was Sire.
No, that's what they all call him, Sire.
Sire.
Because that's like another word for boss.
Yeah.
His
Sire.
name was the High Evolutionary. Because like he was trying to like create his own like races, like his own species, and trying to be like a god.
Yeah, classic bad guy.
Oh,
I'm not trying to take over the world. I'm trying to make it better.
Yeah, but he was just like bugging out the whole time. Like he was all twitchy and
Like,
yelling.
find me Rocket.
And he was just yelling and screaming.
He really wanted Rocket because he wanted Rocket's brain. Because one part that I actually did like, he was like mutating animals, and he like approached Rocket and was like, this is the device I use to, you know, fuck with these animals. He goes, but the problem is I'm speeding up evolution, but they're getting really violent. And then Rocket was like, yeah, well, you know, the problem with the machine is this. And he immediately got so angry. He was like, how did you know that? And he was just mad because, like, he made Rocket. Rocket shouldn't be smarter than him.
Yeah.
And he got so angry. And I thought that was actually pretty funny.
I would have liked that a lot more if the problem wasn't the stupidest problem.
Yeah, right.
It was the most it was like, it's like Rocket walked up and was like, did you try turning it off and turning it back on?
Yeah, right. Did you try unplugging it and plugging it back in?
He like watches it happen and he's like, oh, you're not filtering out enough shit. And he like points to the filters and he's like, you gotta filter more out of it. It's like, really? This genius that can create life, can advance, can turn a turtle into a man.
Yeah.
He didn't know that all he had to do was put a heavier filter on it. I can do that with my air conditioner. Every time my air conditioner gets warm, I go, whoop, gotta clean the filter. Are you shitting me? This super genius didn't realize that he wasn't diluting whatever fucking spray
but also,
he was using.
Why would that even make them violent?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, whenever Keegan doesn't change his air conditioning filter, he turns into a fucking psycho.
I start beating my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I just started lacing. Come here, babe. She's thinking she's running to the air conditioner like, no, please, no.
Keeps banging her head off the AC. Why won't it be cold? Ah, my phone.
It's gonna fucking rust. You know what I noticed too? I wrote this down a bunch of times. James Gunn doesn't know how anything works. He doesn't know how guns work. He doesn't know how spaceships work. He doesn't know how space works. He doesn't know how filters work and how evolution works. I'm watching this whole thing going, that's not how dude.
Yeah.
Everybody in this movie that had a gun just didn't shoot it.
Yeah.
They would point it at someone, and that person would just run towards them, and they'd be like, "Oh God, what do I do?"
And then the Guardians go on a mission in like spacesuits, and then they lose the spacesuits. Like, great, now we're stuck here because we don't have our spacesuits. And then at the end, they're all fighting like in space, no helmets, and it's like it pulls you right out. It's like,
well, they're in their spaceships. And one of the golden guy like literally flies through the fucking windshield.
He Captain Marveled it.
Yeah, he flies through the windshield of Quill's ship, and they just keep flying it like there's not a giant fucking hole in the front of it. It's like, what, dude? That's all your air is going to leave that hole. You are going to leave that hole. Anything that's not strapped
and he just
down,
never did.
And then they were perfectly fine.
Yeah,
They just kept flying.
And then at the end, Quill is like racing to the edge to jump onto the right ship, and he doesn't make it. And then he like freezes in space, and like his tape deck fucking like falls out of his hand. He's like, and his face like swells up and gets frozen. And then
if
if
you're in space and you get to the point where your head explodes, you're dead. That's not. I don't know what James Gunn thought he was trying to communicate with that moment. He's floating in space, and then his head just inflates.
Yeah,
like,
and
that's
it,
your brain exploding.
Yeah, he like hemorrhaged.
Yeah,
and
you're
then
dead. You can't live that.
and then like one of them was like, I got him, and like jumped out to save him. And then they like dragged him to the ship, still outside in space, and he's like, did that look awesome? And he looks like the Elephant Man. And it's like, you're still in space. It's still cold. There's no difference of being 20 feet. You're not in the ship. Also, yeah, I honestly thought he fucking died because his face just went.
That's what it wanted you to think that. There's no other explanation.
But at the same time, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I didn't really care. I was like, because I knew they weren't gonna do it.
My whole thing is like, once you kill Iron Man, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. You know, I'm not a big Marvel guy, so I didn't really give a fuck when Iron Man died.
I knew he was gonna.
It was the obvious conclusion to his arc. Like, what are you gonna do? Keep him around?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
All these, that's what you almost have to kill these characters because, like, it doesn't make any sense that they would like retire and then like Kang shows up to beat the shit out of to destroy the world. Like Captain America's not gonna show up.
Yeah.
You gotta like figure out how to like get them out of the equation.
I will say I liked what they did with Captain America.
They just send him back in time.
He went back in time to return like the Pym particles or whatever, but he like stayed to be with his wife, which I thought was pretty cool. It was a clever way of doing that. But also it's like I'm so sick of these people like in Endgame, why couldn't they just do this with Doctor Strange and they all could have lived? I'm like, 'cause it's a movie. It's a movie. Like that's what you're judging. There's a giant purple guy with space aliens beating the fuck out of these people, and you're worried about alternatives? Suck a fucking dick. Jesus Christ.
But my feelings.
Yeah, but you killed Iron Man.
That made me sad. Yeah, it was supposed to.
Yeah, it's almost like not every moment in a movie should be fucking giddy, which is exactly what James Gunn tried to do in this.
Here's an idea.
Even his sad shit was like, okay, get the walrus in a wheelchair to. It's okay, you're with us now. We'll be your friends.
Talk about their demise.
Oh shit! We were the only ones cracking the fuck up.
I was hysterically laughing, and we were the only.
Do you want to tell it, or should I tell it?
So Rocket, because you went to the bathroom at the beginning of the scene.
Oh yeah, I think
you came back just in time to see this fucking dog shit.
Thank God.
So, Diet Kang takes them out. Diet Kang he drags Rocket out to like brag about. He's like, look, I fixed it because I did the filter thing you talked about. Ha ha, you're dumb. Oh yeah, okay.
I remember that.
So Diet Kang, this really quick tangent that kind of leads into this. Diet Kang, when like it's showing the flashbacks to when like Rocket's a little baby, Diet Kang is a completely normal person. Like he's just like he's like a scientist. Like he's a completely rational human. He's actually sitting there with like baby raccoon, like teaching him how to like speak.
Yeah. And
like teaching him words. He's like pointing out a window, like, look, that's a rocket. And Rocket's like, oh, rocket. And it's like, okay, so he's a normal person. And then like randomly at some point he comes stumbling into the room, freaking the fuck out, like holding his head, and he's like,
yeah, they were like, and his like assistants are like, maybe we should hold off until tomorrow, and it's like, so, what are you talking about?
His assistants they're like, we were in the middle of one of his treatments, and he started like bugging out, and that was all the explanation you got.
I was like,
And then
Okay.
from that point on, he just keeps getting crazier and crazier. And it's like, what? Like,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
it made for a more irritating character because,
Yeah.
like, if you look at other characters in the Marvel universe, none of them are like insane. Like a lot of characters are rational people just doing bad shit. Like, Jeff Bridges in Iron Man 1. He wasn't insane. He was power hungry. That's frightening.
That was his whole thing.
He was the new CEO of Stark Industries, and he wanted weapons.
Yeah.
That's frightening because he's not insane.
And it gave us one of the best quotes out of the entire Marvel franchise.
Thanos is
Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Well, I'm not Tony Stark.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, well, sorry, I'm not Tony Stark. Hey, man.
Or Thanos. Thanos is a completely rational person. He's just
Committing mass genocide.
he's just like has a deluded antisocial philosophy.
Well, yeah, because he just like runs around and he's just like,
Perfectly balanced as all things should be, little one.
But you can follow his logic while also disagreeing with
Yeah.
it. I hate illogical characters.
yeah, because he was like, now no one will be hungry.
He wanted to create a perfect race, but instead of but he was rejecting like his previous experiments.
Well, here's the thing. That bothered me a lot because like he was like, I made the perfect Earth. And then I think it was Star-Lord was like, what, you mean these like human animals that sell each other meth? He goes, oh yeah. And then he blows up the whole planet.
Yeah.
It was like, that's all it took?
Well, that didn't bother me so
Well-
much. But then, like later on, like so he blows up the planet. So obviously he's got to fly away in his spaceship, and then he just starts losing the fucking plot. Like he starts going off the fucking deep end.
He
Even more.
does the villain whoosh.
Yeah, he's like killing his own henchmen. He's like, throwing them around.
Get
the
out of my
ship.
way. Whoosh.
And then his like second in command is like, I'm taking control. Like you're out of your fucking element. And then he just kills them all.
yeah,
But
he
it's
like screams really loud and then they all
but he
die.
was being completely irrational. Like he has 3 of the Guardians locked up in a cage. They can't go anywhere. And then he's just like, open the cage. And they're like, why? That's like a horrible decision. He's just like, open the cage. Because I want you
Well,
to."
also, what I want to say is we didn't get to their demise.
Yeah, all right. I had to go on that mini
Yeah,
tangent.
we
that mini tangent turned into a major tangent.
Yeah. But anyway, this is great. So,
So he comes in, so he drags Rocket out, and he's like, "Look, I did it. I made the animals. They're not angry anymore. They're peaceful." He goes, "So basically, I don't need you anymore." And Rocket's like, "What?" We've got technical difficulties. Hold on. So he's like, "Rocket, I don't need you guys anymore." And Rocket goes, he's basically like rubbing it in his fucking face that he's like, I don't need you anymore, and guess what? You're not coming.
yeah.
He's like, you're like a failed prototype. I'm not bringing you along. I'm not bringing you along to my perfect utopia.
Yeah.
And then the dumbass just drags him back to the cage.
And because he's like prepping for brain surgery.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we'll
tomorrow.
just kill him in the morning. But he wants to keep Rocket to look at his brain.
Yeah.
But he's gonna kill the other 3. So he drags him back to the cage, throws him in the cage, but Rocket had been secretly grabbing like different components and things, and he like cobbled up together a fake key card that would open his cage. So he opens the cage, and then he's like, freedom, it worked, yeah. Then he opens up the otter's cage, and literally like 5 seconds later,
They're in love, by the way.
yeah, 5 seconds later, Dai Kang shoots her in the back.
Yeah.
She like falls over, dies. Rocket starts bugging out, which I thought was actually very cool, very
Yeah.
well done. I liked it. I liked
Yeah.
this half of the scene. I loved like
Because
when
he's just like out like hyperventilating.
he's just screaming. He's
yeah,
just
he's
like,
just like
and
like
Dai Kang is such a fucking schizo. He's like, he starts screaming back at him. He's like, you dumbass. And so Rocket just freaks the fuck out, bum rushes him, and claws his fucking face off.
yeah.
And this is the part that lost me, because as Rocket's clawing his face off, he's like gurgling, laying there. all of his cronies come running in, like the security detail. They come running in. Rocket picks up the guy's gun and starts blowing these dudes away. Now these guys all go to shoot Rocket and miss every single shot. Miss every shot. And then Rocket kills all three of them and turns around. All of his friends are dead.
Yeah. the walrus in a wheelchair.
The walrus is tipped over. The bunny's laying in like upside down like a spider.
Yeah. It's like...
And I lost my fucking shit.
We were shaking laughing.
I was
no, Toofs is dead.
Toofs, no.
Toofs, not Toofs and Floor.
They didn't die trying to escape. They didn't die in a fight. They caught a couple strays.
Yeah.
Fucking died off screen. And the camera whips back around and their corpses are just laying there. And Rocket's like, no! And I don't know what happened for the next 5 minutes. I was completely out.
I think what happened was he just ran away to escape. He got in a ship and left.
All right. I was like keeled over laughing.
Yeah.
And the rest of the theater was completely silent.
Yeah, they were like, they're not Floor and Toofs.
I was dying. I was so fucking funny.
I'm not trying to get on like such a technical term, but it's like, I don't know why Rocket wouldn't have just killed Diet Kang since he's the one that killed his girlfriend, but it's a movie.
He just leaves.
I know.
He had the gun. He could have just
I know.
Popped him right there.
Then we wouldn't have this amazing cinematic masterpiece.
What it should have been was that he tries to escape with the three amigos, and they die on the chase because that's a sense of urgency that makes it so Rocket can't stop to make these kind of decisions. If you don't allow him into a situation where he can make a decision, we can't nitpick that decision.
Yeah.
And be like, why didn't he just shoot the guy right there?
Because he's on the move. He's got to go.
He's running. You gotta go. He wasn't being chased at that moment. He could have ended him right there.
This is exactly what I was saying before, where James Gunn could have taken out 30 pages of pointless shit and maybe added 10 of shit like that.
Yeah, the three friends should have died trying to escape, not just standing in their cell like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have been killed by stray bullets. They should have been killed by Diet Kang.
Yeah, like the rabbit with like all those robotic legs should have been able to like climb up on some shit and do something and
do anything. I think that one of my biggest problem about these characters is they amounted to nothing.
Yeah.
It's like a case of like Chekhov's gun, where the gun was never used.
And then Rocket gets the chance to kill him again, and he just drops the gun. And then Quill was like, "Why not?" He goes, "'Cause I'm a guardian of the galaxy." Baby. It's like, well, if you're a guardian of the galaxy, kill the guy who's trying to ruin the galaxy.
To be fair, they did just leave him on the ship as it exploded.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
They didn't let him live, which I still hate because that you are killing him. If you're not dragging him off the ship,
like
leaving
Rocket,
someone to die is still killing them.
Like Rocket,
if I shoot you out in the woods and leave you there, I'm killing you.
Yeah.
Just because you didn't die to my gunshot.
Yeah, but what bothers me is like Rocket had so much pent up aggression towards this guy and had such a rough life with this guy. It's like now he's got that chance. It's like, just say fuck it, man. Like, do it. You just killed all of his henchmen to get to him. Fucking put a bullet in his head. And then they rip off his fake face. And he looks like the guy from fucking Captain America, that red face guy.
Red Skull.
Yeah. I don't know if that was supposed to be him or if that was just from what Rocket did to him.
That's just what you look like when your face gets ripped off.
Yeah.
The same thing with Red Skull. He got his like head melted.
Yeah.
It's like Red Skull is like muscle tendon.
Yeah.
He was just Rocket really fucking tore his fucking face.
That's
up.
what I'm saying.
I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Yeah.
That was a good scene.
Because that was where his innocence just left.
Yeah, well, so so that was the other cool thing, was that the four of them were programmed to be peaceful creatures. Like he wasn't supposed to be able to perform violence. He was programmed as like a peaceful, docile being. Like
hence
he wasn't
the Teletubby characters.
Yeah, hence them being fucking loser bitches.
Yeah.
But he like absolutely broke Rocket in that moment by killing his friend and just unleashed this fucking animal.
Yeah.
I will say the other thing I did like was Rocket and the baby raccoons. I don't know why that moment just worked for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because
got-
what
that
I love
was
is
alright.
like the opening scene is his point of view of a guy approaching the cage and grabbing him to fuck him up. And now their point of view is Rocket coming to save them. It comes full circle. Like that's a good element.
Yeah, that was a good. I
Yeah.
guess you'd call it a callback.
Yeah. I mean,
It was more like a parallel.
yeah, it was
In
like
the
a
great,
parallel.
in the great words of George Lucas, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, other than like that, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just those are the elements I liked, like when I like the big picture. You know what I
Right.
mean? But
There
all the
was-
small things in it that made up the big picture, like I just couldn't really get on board with. It was a lot of just miscommunication. Whoopsie daisy. Oh, we're again, good actors because we're all screaming at each other. It's like James Gunn was like, okay, everybody in this is gonna need their moment.
Yeah.
So you scream here, everyone will have their little thing. It's like that's not what it should be.
The problem wasn't. So the structure of the movie was sound. It was like a good foundation of
Yeah.
that. You have Rocket, a character we all know, in peril, and you have the rest of the cast trying to save him. That's a fine foundation. Where it got lost was the bloated, fucking mucus-ridden sack of shit that James Gunn slapped on top of that foundation.
Yeah.
It was a fucking mess. And it's like, you have a coherent story underneath all of this, and
Yeah.
you're just like going out of your way to like knock it over.
Yeah, and like it's just I just didn't buy a lot of it. And it's like weird because I've seen movies where there's shit where you should watch it and you're just like, what the fuck is this? But like I'm trying to think. Okay, so a couple days ago I watched the movie Ted. They put it on Netflix.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, the kid made a wish that his teddy bear could talk. And now it's like, a drug addict, foul mouthed, whatever. And it's like, I'm watching this and I'm like, why is this happening? Oh, because he just made a wish when he was a kid that his bear could talk. And okay, his wish came true. And it's like, it was so fucking funny. And I bought it the whole way through. I'm like, yeah, he made the wish. Fuck it. Now his bear can talk. Fine. And it was a good, tight-knit, fucking really good comedy.
Yeah.
I'll buy anything if you make it good.
A movie doesn't have to be complex to be good.
No.
It really depends on how you lay your foundation, and then how that foundation supports the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember anything from Ted, so I can't.
Well, yeah, I mean, it came out like 10 years ago. But,
I watched. I'm trying to figure out how to tie this in.
What?
Because it's just on my Starship Troopers.
yeah.
I watched that last night. That's a weird movie, man.
Yeah, a lot of bugs in that.
That's
movie.
a trippy movie because it opens up with like all these soldiers getting fucking murked by the
they get,
bugs.
lit the fuck up.
And great satire, great like
Yeah.
propaganda satire movie. It's the I'm Doing My Part. If you've never seen it, it's that movie. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. It's a weird movie. It's got a lot of fucking like wacky ideas, but like the first half of the movie is like this weird romance high school movie, and you're like, what is happening? Like you set
Yeah.
up this weird movie where like a cameraman is like, we're here on the front lines, and a bug rips him in half.
Yeah.
And then you cut into like, all right, here's like 30 minutes of our characters in high school, and you're like, what?
Who?
And then you watch, and you're like, you know what? This kind of fucking works. 'Cause
Yeah.
now I know my main cast, and now I know everything. I care about them now. You're just establishing that.
But I get that though.
Yeah, you can.
It's like if
that.
you can. Yeah. Basically, what we're trying to say is you can believe anything in a movie if it's done properly.
Oh yeah.
If
Yeah,
it's done right, I will believe anything. If you're like,
the alien war is the part that made the most sense in that. Actually, here's how I can tie this in. My ice is melting. So In Starship Troopers, watch it if you haven't, but in Starship Troopers, they invade the bug planet. The reason they invade the bug planet is because an asteroid hits Earth and destroys Buenos Aires. Wipes it off the fucking planet, like millions of people die. And somehow the governments of the world come to the conclusion that these bugs purposely sent an asteroid to our planet. They trace the asteroid back to their home planet, and they're like, they did it on purpose, we're going to war. And it's like very obvious that the bugs cannot control asteroids. And it's like, I can believe that because you've set up that this government is stupid.
Yeah,
like,
it's like batshit retarded.
yeah,
like,
the foundation is that like, there's all these really weird little scenes thrown in to Starship Troopers where, it's like a web page, like you're on like a, and it always ends the same. It goes, do you want to know more? It's like a news article. It's like, local scientist tests rifles on bugs. Do you want to know more? And it goes for like 3 or 4 of them. And one of the things it establishes early on is that the only way you can earn the right to vote in this universe is by joining the military. So only people in the military have citizenship. So all your characters have weird motivations for. One of them is like, I want to get into politics, so I have to be a soldier. One's like, oh, I wanted to go to Harvard.
But that's really cool.
That's what I mean.
It's like you want this, you got to do this.
But
and
so
I'll believe you.
I don't question the asteroid when I know that this is a government that awards you citizenship based on your military service.
Yeah.
Like that's like a wacky that's the kind of government we're working with. Got it. All right, I can believe those dumbasses would
do something.
Would
like
do that. Would trace an asteroid back to a planet and invade that planet.
But with Guardians, James Gunn would set things up and then contradict them, and it just kept falling back. And there was no structure, or there was no like, no one was like coherent. What's the word? Like no one was like, there were no steady characters. Therefore, I couldn't believe
consistent.
Anything. Yeah, consistency. There was no consistency with the characters or the plot, so it was like he would like go this way and then go that way and then go up and down and all around. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, there was this really annoying moment to me where they get Rocket down into the medical bed and they go, all right, he's got about 48 hours, which means nothing in space.
Yeah.
There's no time in space. Time is relative to what planet you're standing on. So the 48 hours is a meaningless mark. But then they just kind of meander around. There's no like urgency to it. Like they go into the anus and they'll
start like bickering.
Yeah, they're fighting. They're in the airlock. And it's like, dude, your fucking friend's dying on the ship.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, why would you put our spacesuits in that bin where it gets launched into space? It's like, I didn't know that it would get launched into space. Like, are you that dumb? No, are you dumb? Baby. And it's like, I'm not laughing, so it's not funny.
Yeah.
You set up a case of urgency, to push the plot. Now you're falling back on it.
Yeah, that you're no longer adhering to.
Yeah, I just didn't like it, man. I didn't fucking like it. I thought, and again, my least favorite movies are bad ones that had potential. And I saw a lot of potential in this, and again, especially with Rocket. And I thought a lot of the ideas were good. They were just executed like shit, and it probably got softened up because of the studio, and it just made me, I just didn't buy any of it.
See, I'd like to, I know, I doubt we ever will, but I'd like to know more about the behind the scenes of all 3 movies, because I know at least Chris Pratt. I'd like to talk about him at the end for like 5 seconds too. Yeah. But I know at least Chris Pratt had mentioned that this was meant to be a trilogy. I wonder how much planning it I don't know if they were just like, all right, we're making 3 movies, or if they were making these 3 movies with this arc. Because if you're making a trilogy, you have an overarching trilogy. You don't just, it's not just 3 movies. It's a great example is Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, shit happens in the first movie, shit happens in the second movie, shit happens in the third movie, but the overall plot is we have to get this fucking ring into that mountain.
Yeah.
And each movie is its own step of the process, but that overarching plot and connects the three movies. So when you go out to make a trilogy, you're not just making three random movies. That's where like John Wick lost me too. Like they kept pumping out these movies and nothing connected them. They were all just completely different movies.
Back for another wacky adventure with the assassin.
Here's another hour and a half of Keanu Reeves.
I'll just say it. I never
Milsiming.
saw any John Wick movie.
The first one's phenomenal. The rest of them you don't have to. The first one's a phenomenal movie. I will not. That movie blew me away when I watched it. That's another movie that has a great foundation that's super simple. Guy's wife dies. Dead wife gets him a puppy because she knew she was going to die. Gangsters break into his house, kill the puppy. And that sends him on a violent rampage through this mob and then it turns out that they knew him because he used to work for them. And he's like this violent, famous hitman. But like he's just on this violent rampage and he can't be talked down from it. That is a fantastic, simple movie. Perfect. No fat on that whatsoever. And then the rest of them come and they're like, how do we fatten this bitch up? How do we get this nice fat piece of fucking meat into my mouth? Guess what? Now the whole world is assassins. There's an underground society of assassins. They use gold coins.
You already lost me.
Yeah, the first one is amazing, tight little movie.
What do you want to say about Chris Pratt?
This movie, I know in the other ones too, maybe not so much in the non-Guardians movies. When Chris Pratt needs to, he can act his ass off. He handles those dramatic scenes perfectly. Like the scene where Rocket's dying and he's freaking out. He's like, no.
Yeah.
He can get the fucking job done. I was actually impressed by Chris Pratt in this movie.
I agree.
I think Peter Quill is a very poor character. Like generally.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a bad character. I'm just saying he leaves a little to be desired. And he's constantly kind of like.
It's like you can't be the main character like and the comedic relief.
I hate that.
And it seems like that's kind of like what they were.
It's the same
a lot of what it was.
Same thing as Ant-Man. He's somehow a supporting character in a movie with his namesake.
Yeah.
At least Guardians is about the whole group.
Yeah, so you can't really,
But yeah, no. When push comes to shove, Chris Pratt can actually act, which makes it slightly more upsetting that he always gets the goofy guy character.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I know he's had movies where he played like a serious role. I mean,
yeah, Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Fuck Jurassic World. That movie sucked on my dick.
Dude, don't even get me started on Jurassic Park, man. I will flip out.
Jurassic Park was fine. Maybe not 2 or 3, but Jurassic World didn't have to be made.
Yeah, that second trilogy was awful. Yeah, Jurassic 2 was terrible. Jurassic 3 was terrible.
I will never have good words to say about a remake, a remaster, or stop remake. And you know what? You know what pisses me off is you can remake movies. Like there are plenty of like movies that were good ideas that were executed horribly. You could remake those, but they don't. They only want to remake the movies that everybody already saw.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so obvious and people just fucking keep lining up to watch them. They eat this shit up. And here's the secret. Here's the big secret Hollywood doesn't want you to know. All right? If you want to watch Top Gun, you don't got to drag Tom Cruise's 58-year-old ass back out onto camera. All right, you can just go watch Top Gun again. Didn't go anywhere. You don't have to remake the movie. All right, it's still there.
I hate when Disney does that that animated to live action. It's
my God.
The Lion King. It's like they're both technically cartoons.
Yeah,
they're both animated. One's just animated better.
No, one's just CGI and the other one's hand drawn. That was the only difference. And that killed me. And that's when this is when back then I still gave a shit. Now I don't. Disney can burn down for all I care. Yeah. Back then, man, the fucking Lion King worked because of how much fucking charm that animation had.
Yeah.
That animation did so much of the fucking heavy lifting.
Oh yeah.
And then they just
And the
got rid of
talent
it.
behind it. The
Yeah,
voice behind
honestly.
that. Got a great talent behind that movie.
But what I'm saying is like that the animation itself absolutely carried that movie.
Yeah, like that era of animation was great.
What do they call it? The Disney Golden Age?
Yeah, I think so. That was like The Lion King. I think like
Aladdin.
This one's under the radar. Emperor's New Groove. I fucking love.
Yep.
I love that fucking movie.
Pull the lever, Kronk. Wrong lever.
Dude, the best is when like the intro, he's like dancing, and then like he bumps into this old man. He goes, you threw off my groove. And this giant guard comes over to this old man and goes, I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove. And just yeets this fucking guy out a window. Sorry. Great fucking movie. But yeah, I mean, all the new Disney movies look like fucking shit now. Their animation got like really shitty.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Pixar doesn't make good movies anymore.
I know, right? And it has nothing to do with the fact that, these ones came out when I was a kid. But they were just better.
They were more interesting premises.
Yeah, like honestly, like not even just an animated movie. Monsters, Inc. is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie.
It's
so fucking much.
I don't know what happened. I mean, I do know what happened because there's a writer's strike going on. But
yeah.
Hollywood has really just shafted writers and writers
for so long.
Yeah, and you can just tell it's getting worse and worse as the years go on.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get mad at these video game movies and these remakes whenever they turn out to suck. You know how like everybody gets mad at video game movies because they're like it's not the same thing as the video game. It's like you get these poor fucking writers that all they've wanted to do was tell stories their whole life. They get a job with fucking some studio, and the studio goes, "Can you write a thing that's already written? Can you take all these somebody else's characters and put them in their world and have their things? Just make it again." It's like, that's not writing. I'm not gonna write something that's already written.
Yeah, it's like just
so then
play the game and then write it.
So then watch it on fucking YouTube.
Yeah.
But then these writers try to do something different because they just want to write their own story, and everybody freaks the fuck out. They're like, this has nothing to do with The Witcher. It's like, okay, because I imagine the guy who wrote it didn't want to write The Witcher. Yeah. Guess what? The Witcher was already written. You don't have to fucking I could never imagine as a writer being told to write a story that already exists. I would blow my fucking brains out. I would purposely sabotage.
Can you write Cinderella?
So here's what we want. We want Cinderella again.
But she has to be Asian and a lesbian. Can you make that happen?
Actually, I would watch that. That sounds
sexy as hell.
Sexy as shit.
Yeah, you my ugly stepsister.
Right,
okay, we scissor now.
No, we're not doing that again.
Come on.
Not doing that again.
Come on. What murder?
This is gonna in 10 years when we have a YouTube career, some other YouTuber is gonna do a deep dive into our podcast and clip all the racist moments Charlie's had.
Well, on that note, let's keep it going
and leave out the parts where I yell at him for it.
I do a great impression of a Mexican.
All right, so that was the Degenerate podcast.
Thanks for watching.
Brought to you by Jason Statham.
All right, so here's what you can do. You can watch us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. I'm Charlie.
I'm Jason Statham.
And this has been another episode of the Degenerate Movie Reviews. Good work, bitch.
Oh, that was mean.